Gavin Newsom, the governor of California this morning, or it wasn't this morning, I guess it was on Jim Vandehey's show on Axios on HBO, said that in his opinion, the Republican Party is now toast. His actual words are, they are finished. He said, white men were sold a complete bill of BS. It's just a yard of crap, and it's just damn sad. He says Trump uses racism to whip up his mostly white base. Quote, he has blatantly expressed racist points of views and expressed them on multitudes of occasions during the campaign and such. And Newsom, by the way, runs America's largest state and one in which non-whites are the majority right now. California has sued the Trump administration a record 50 times, making arguably Gavin Newsom the de facto leader of the Democratic resistance. And so the question, I mean, he's arguing 10 to 15 years from now there won't be a Republican Party. I don't know if the Republican Party can recover. I really don't. And if not, then what happens? I mean, the Libertarian Party is even more extreme than the Republicans. Young people think it's so cool. Oh, yeah, hey, let's, free drugs and free prostitution. Not free, but, legal prostitution, legal drugs. I've always said that libertarians are just Republicans who want to smoke dope and get laid. It's really just that simple. I just don't know what can replace the Republican Party. I mean, we've only seen this happen really, I think, twice in our history. The first was, I mean, very, very early on. This was during the administration of John Adams, when the Anti-Federalists essentially reincorporated under the leadership largely of Thomas Jefferson, who was Adams's vice president. This was in the 4 years leading up to 1800. This was 1797 to 1801, the Adams presidency, and Jefferson renamed the party the Democratic Republican Party, and then in the 1820s, 1830s, they kind of gradually, over a period of about a decade, stopped using the word Republican and just called it the Democratic Party. It's the longest-lasting, oldest political party in the world, the Democratic Party, founded by Thomas Jefferson. And it's gone through a lot of changes. I mean, after the Civil War, the Democratic Party was the party of Jim Crow and segregation, basically. And the Republican Party, for a while there, for about 10 years, during and after the Civil War, was the party of abolition. Well, then the Republican Party got in the act with the Democratic Party, and they were both, supporting, everything from redlining to absolute segregation in schools and everything else. And then, in the 60s, Jack Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson flipped the Democratic Party on its head. And as LBJ told Bill Moyers when he signed the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, he said, I may be handing the South to the Republican Party for a generation. Well, it turns out it's been, 3 generations since then? A generation is, 19 to 20 years. So, and then the second time that we've rebooted a political party in the United States was the Whigs. The Anti-Federalists became the Democratic Republicans, and the Federalists, John Adams was a Federalist, right? And then the Federalists just lost election after election after, Jefferson was a Democrat, Madison was a Democrat, Monroe was a Democrat. I mean, it just continued, and so the Federalists just died out, and they were replaced by the Whigs, and then the Whigs died out in the 1850s. 1856, was the birth of the modern Republican Party in Jackson, Michigan, and also in Wisconsin there was something going on, and their first actually it was their second, but their first major candidate for president was Abraham Lincoln. But boy, has the Republican Party gone a long way from Lincoln. So if the Republican Party dies, what replaces it? I don't know. I really don't. And if it's the Libertarians, then frankly, in my opinion, we're actually moving toward more fascism. Because, fascism is the definition. The definition of fascism is a merger of corporate and state interests combined with belligerent nationalism. The Libertarians aren't big on the belligerent nationalism part, but the merger corporate and state interests, that defines the Libertarians. So what might replace the Republican Party if it goes down?